What are your first memories of wrestling? Hitting my first suicide cradle in a middle school tournament. If I were a superhero, I'd be Iron Man because he's innovative and adaptive. Best advice to give yourself? Be patient and work hard. Future plans? Make money, get a lake house, buy a GTR, I don't know what that is, and become an electrician. Ladies and gentlemen, Alex Jean. Tyler Ribeiro, 127 pounds, 6 years of wrestling. Parents, Melissa and Roberto. Why'd you come out for wrestling? Coach Griffith, my 7th grade social studies teacher, convinced me to join. What are your first memories? Every day, walking down to the middle school gym and setting up the mats with my friends. If I were a superhero, he says, I'd probably be Superman because of how ripped I am. What advice would you give your younger self? It's okay to be afraid as long as you're willing to be courageous. Future plans? Plan to go to college for criminal justice and someday be a narcotics detective. Very cool. Ladies and gentlemen, Tyler Ribeiro. Senior Jack Bridenstine, 139 pounds, 13 years in wrestling. Parents Chris and Di. Why'd you come up wrestling? Started wrestling in kindergarten because my dad put me in. Ever since, it's been a part of my life. What are your first memories? Going 17-1 my kindergarten year and getting to open, getting so upset my dad pulled me for the rest of the season to try again next year. Really? All right. If I were a superhero, I would be Butcher Boy. I really like butchers, and I'm really good at them. Butcher Boy. Okay. What advice would you give your younger self? Keep working hard, push yourself to the limits. Maybe learn how to sprawl. Future plans, I plan to go to college, get an engineering degree, but still undecided. Otherwise, ladies and gentlemen, Jack Bridenstine. Jack Fian, 145 pounds, 3 years in wrestling. Parent Dan. Why'd you come up to wrestling? Wanted to challenge myself. What are your first memories? Practicing with Chris Slattery. Boy, this is interesting. Here is Chris Slattery giving him his senior poem, who at the time was 40 pounds heavier than me. If you were a superhero, he says I'd be Superman because he stands for hope and a better future. Advice that you give yourself, don't be afraid to try new things. And future plans are to go into college for engineering. Ladies and gentlemen, Jack Fian. Carmine Costa, 139 pounds, 145. First year out for wrestling. Parents hope we were early. Why do you come out for wrestling? Wanted to challenge myself by trying something new. First memories of wrestling are captain's practice, learning fireman's carries and headlocks. If you were a superhero, he said I'd be Spider-Man because he's the best and my favorite. Advice you'd give yourself? Try new things, the earlier the better. And future plans are to go to ROTC and major in psychology. Ladies and gentlemen, Carmine Costa. Senior Captain Lily Mathiasen, 148 pounds, 3 years in wrestling. Parents Chris and Jordan. Came out for wrestling, I was just trying it out for fun, and I knew a lot of people who wrestled. What are your first memories of wrestling? During captain's practice, I was told I had a really good base on bottom, and to this day, I'm riding that. If you were a superhero, Lego Batman, because he's funny. What advice would you give your younger self? Life gets hard, suck it up, and keep going. Future plans are to going to be an author, going to the U of M, and hopefully coming back as a coach. Take it. Ladies and gentlemen, Lily Mathiasen. Senior Gavin Conaway. 3 years of wrestling, parents Geneva and Randy. Why'd you go up wrestling? Because my friend DJ said I should give it a try. Who's right behind you. What are your first memories of wrestling? A very humbling first period loss, his first match. If you were a superhero, he said be Superman because he is a alien and he can't fly. Or he's an alien and he can fly. Yeah. Advice you give your younger self? Act like you belong and you will. Good advice. Future plans? Plans to join the United States Marine Corps with a degree in aerospace engineering. Ladies and gentlemen, Gavin Conaway. Don Shamir Fisher. Senior. Parents, Jen and Don Shamir, when did you come out for wrestling? My friend asked me to come out and to give it a try and fell in love with it. First memories of wrestling, we're trying it in 9th grade and having a lot of fun. If you were a superhero, he said I would be my dad. That's pretty cool. What advice would you give your younger self? Stick with wrestling, you will meet some amazing people. And future plans, he plans to go to college and major in marketing. Ladies and gentlemen, Don Shamir Fisher. Senior, 189 pounds, 3 years of wrestling. Parents, Leanne and Jason. Why'd you come up for wrestling? Okay. I just wanted to give it a try, wanted to try it out, thought it'd be fun. First memories of wrestling are getting my first pin. If you were a superhero, he says that he would also be Spider-Man because he helps everyone out. Advice you'd give your younger self? Join wrestling sooner and trust who you are. Future plans are to go into the trades. Very good choice. Ladies and gentlemen, Andrew Lassard. Kingston Akinola, 215 pounds. Why'd you come out for wrestling? Thought it would be a good sport to stay in shape in. Yeah. First memories, going to captain practice and carrying around the varsity 215-pounder. If you were a superhero, he said Black Panther, because it's always been a cool superhero to me. Advice you give your younger self? Start earlier. Good advice, and don't stop. Future plans are to play football at Bethel University and major in computer engineering and science. Ladies and gentlemen, Kingston Akinola. Evan Salter, 285. Parents, Vincent and Leslie. Why'd you come up for wrestling? Thought it would be fun, and he remembers being in Mad Bandits. Very cool. First memories, we're looking at the trophies in the wrestling room. If he were a superhero, he said he would want to be Gambit, because he just wants to be Gambit. Good idea. Advice is finish your shots. Boy, that's also really good advice. Future plans are to join the United States Marine Corps. Very cool. Ladies and gentlemen, Evan Salter. Hussein El Husseinawi. Senior, 3 years in wrestling. Why'd you come out for wrestling? I came out for wrestling because Coach Mandite told me to. First memories were my first was walking into the wrestling room and seeing the team for the first time and falling in love with the sport. If you were a superhero, he said be Batman because he's rich. What advice would you give your younger self? Life is hard, so suck it up and keep going. Ladies and gentlemen, Hussein El Husseinawi. This is your senior class of 2026.